Welcome to the Merf and Irf show.
Lennon and McCartney.
Gotta look into the centre camera, you know.
Okay. Now, obviously, I'm Merf. That's Merf.
And this is Merf. Short for Murphy.
And mine's short for Irfan. Now, the reason that we're doing this is because he's one hell of an interesting character. Okay? Everybody's interesting.
I don't like to blow my own trumpet, you know, but
you can.
I consider myself eccentric.
Okay. Now the thing is, as soon as I saw you and heard you talk, you reminded me of a very young Alan Partridge,
which I've heard through my whole life. That's exactly what I've been told.
Alan Partridge, the college years.
Yeah.
Aha. Yeah. You know, but you've basically got a lot of knowledge. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do. So
I'm currently a student at Brunel University.
Yeah.
I study history. Is my main thing. Although I'm about to finish that, and then I'm going into politics, which is the
watch out
the no area, you know.
Yeah.
but I'm a student currently, and I'm crazy about history, and I love especially military history is what I specialize in.
Dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous.
So you want to become a serial killer, or?
I played a serial killer recently in a student film, but no, it's not an ambition of mine to be a serial killer.
Okay, fine. That's fine. That's good to know.
Although, who knows? In 2 years, who knows?
Yeah. Well, you got the Dharma specs.
Well, exactly. Well, so do you.
Yeah, true. True. Now, what we need to do is sort of discuss. So you're doing, at the moment, a military degree?
Military history.
Okay.
Well, military and international history is the name of the degree.
Sort of like where does it stem from? Where does it start from? How far do you go back?
So we go sort of from gunpowder onwards. So anything with knights and shining armor, I can't tell you much about. It's not my specialty. We go from sort of when people start shooting each other with guns is when I get into it.
Oh, shoot away. You know. So gunpowder.
Yeah.
Who invented gunpowder?
It's quite interesting. Gunpowder originates from China, and it was created, and this is very ironic, it was created by alchemists who wanted to find a potion for eternal life. So they were trying to get eternal life, and they created gunpowder as a result.
Eternal life?
Yeah. They were looking for they were trying to create a potion.
Surely your life is going to be extremely limited with gunpowder.
Yeah, well, exactly, exactly. That's why it's so ironic. You know, it's the sort of went the wrong way around.
And what would they do, you know, with this gunpowder?
Well, in China, they didn't even think of using it as weapons. They just made fireworks with it.
Okay.
So they had some limited military application. There was a thing called a huacha, which wasn't used.
Is that the Japanese gotcha with
yeah.
Noel Edmonds? What is it?
Huacha.
Huacha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which it means gotcha. You know?
Gotcha. Bang. Yeah.
But it was limited capacity. But when it spread over to Europe, and as Europeans do, we get this crazy new technology. It's awesome. We can have like crazy fireworks and awesome explosions and stuff. And our first thought is, I think I can use this to kill my rival. So we started building cannons and guns, and that's when it spread over to Europe, and the walls of Constantinople, which is now Istanbul, but it was called Constantinople at the time. They were impenetrable, and it's considered the end of the medieval era is when the Ottoman Turks used gunpowder to blow a hole in these walls that were impenetrable. No one could ever breach them.
Okay.
They'd been under siege for centuries, basically, by the Turks, and the Turks just couldn't breach them. But as soon as they got gunpowder, they immediately beat them. And that's considered the end of the medieval period. So that's where I'm sort of from there onwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm fascinated, and the world is fascinated by guns. And unfortunately, gun culture...
Yeah.
My piece, my shooter.
Guns are cool. I don't know what to say. You know, guns are cool.
Yeah, unless you've got one pointing at you.
Well, yeah, but that's why you want a gun. So if someone's pointing a gun at you, you can put your own back.
Okay, a duel.
Yeah.
Now, with guns, there's so many guns. What can you tell me about guns?
Oh, where to start?
Okay, let's have some bullet points. Okay, right. Let me ask you a random question.
Sure.
What? A shotgun.
Okay.
Why is it sawn off?
So the way a shotgun works, the way it's different from something like a rifle, for example, is, like a rifle, you shoot a single bullet and it just goes straight. With a shotgun, imagine like a really big bullet that has lots of tiny little bullets inside. They're called pellets. So when you shoot a shotgun, it's not one round. It's in some cases hundreds of rounds all firing off, and they go out in different directions, and they have what's called spread. So the shorter the barrel, the bigger the spread. So you're less likely to hit something that's really far away, but if it's close
with
enough,
a longer barrel?
Yeah, with a longer barrel, you'll be more accurate. And with a shorter barrel, you'll have more spread, so you'll...
More devastation.
More damage.
Yeah,
more damage. That's...
And sorry, in layman's terms, what's point blank?
Point blank is right up against you.
What sort of like touching you with or within an arm's length?
I'd say that's point blank.
Okay.
That would be point blank.
That's point blank.
Yeah.
And that will...
Yeah. It's not a scientific term. It's colloquial. It's just like point blank is just right in front of you.
Okay. And that will...
It doesn't...
Well, you hear it on the news, there was shot at point blank range.
Yeah. That just means right in front of you.
Okay. Frightening and
yeah. And it does, and it will do more. Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious. The closer you are, the more damage it will do.
Okay. So what you're saying is with the sawn-off shotgun, it will cause more
damage.
More damage.
It will obliterate you.
Yeah.
Because when it's a longer barrel, it's more focused.
Yeah. So what a sniper would use. Obviously, he's not going to use a shotgun.
Yeah. Right, people are surprised. Shotguns actually have quite far range.
Do they?
Yeah. There's a reason they use them for hunting. Is because they're actually in popular culture, like in films and video games and whatever. It's sort of this weird things come out that shotguns are only useful at point blank range, at being really close range. But a shotgun can do just as well as a rifle if you're using it properly.
Yeah.
Hunters prefer shotgun in this country, at least. I don't know about in America, but in this country, hunters will easily prefer shotguns over rifles.
Okay.
For like pheasant hunting and foxing and stuff like that. My granddad used to be a gamekeeper. So.
Okay. He used to look after board games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game of life.
Yeah. Okay. So what, used to hunt and...
Well, you know what a gamekeeper is.
Yeah, that hunt birds and...
Yeah. So they basically... Their job is to keep hunting grounds, the population of animals in the hunting grounds at a level...
So they cull them.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get like overrun with one certain animal. There's no dominant species or whatever. Basically keeping it as the perfect hunting ground for the actual hunter.
Okay.
So he's like the manager of the hunting ground. He's not the actual hunter. He just manages it.
Okay.
And farmers use gamekeepers as well.
And how do they kill these sort of like surplus animals?
Shotgun.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what they use. It always. Again, I don't know about in America. In America, you get some I saw this video where these farmers had to fight off these wild boars, and boars in America are huge, and they have to use like a 50 cal machine gun, and they're driving around on like a pickup truck, and they've got a machine gun mounted in the back.
I've seen them, because these boars, when they're shot once, twice, maybe, it doesn't stop them.
No, it doesn't. But we don't have any animals like that in Britain, so we don't need that. So hunters and gamekeepers in Britain, they just use a shotgun. But in America, they use more intense equipment, definitely.
Okay, so coming on to, we've mentioned the shotgun. What about these? What's the most powerful gun in the world?
That's an interesting question. I mean,
what's this Magnum 45 or
the
Desert
Magnum.
Eagle and all these?
Those won't be the most powerful because they're pistols, they're handguns.
Okay.
But they're the most powerful gun that you could hold with one hand.
Yeah.
and they are intense. I don't know the specifics of like the calibers.
Yeah.
Probably the most powerful gun is probably a 50 cal. That's 50 caliber.
So, not calories.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
I'm sure it's got a lot of calories in it as well.
You'll lose a lot of weight when you shit your pants.
Well, definitely.
One pointing at you. Yeah.
But I mean, I remember I've seen videos of people shooting a 50 cal and it literally blows them back.
Yeah.
The funniest ones, these videos of like dwarves shooting 50 cals and they go flying, they go shoo.
Yeah.
It's something out of a cartoon,
Yeah. Okay. What's rubber bullet and what's blanks and
blanks are typically for training, or for like movie shoots. A blank is basically just
someone on a movie set. Was it Alec Baldwin?
It was Alec Baldwin.
And the person who was in charge of the gun?
They put live rounds in instead of blanks, and Alec Baldwin thought they were blanks, and then he killed someone.
Oh, dear.
But that was his fault because literally anyone worth their salt, especially someone like Alec Baldwin, who's been in a lot of films that use, guns.
Yeah.
You should know that it doesn't matter how much you trust the person that's handled it before. If you ever pick up a gun, you check it beforehand.
Sure.
You always
How do you check it? Open it?
Yeah, you just open the magazine and make it safe. And no matter what, you even if you've seen them handle the gun and you've seen them, check it themselves, and then they hand it to you, you still check it.
Yeah.
Always. It's a golden rule. Golden rule.
Yeah.
You never don't check a gun after picking it up.
Okay, which is a shame now. Had that been blanks, that person wouldn't have died.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
And what does a blank consist? Is it just a firework inside or something?
I mean, essentially. So basically, the way a bullet works is you have the casing, which is full of gunpowder. It's full of gunpowder, and then on the end you have the bullet itself, which is partially wedged inside the casing. So when the gunpowder ignites, it propels like usually a sort of cylindrical projectile forward.
Yeah.
A blank just doesn't have the bit at the tip, so it's just gas. It's just fire.
Okay.
You can hurt someone with a blank.
Yeah.
If you're, I mean, if
you're at point blank.
I actually think that's where I don't know for sure. I think that's where the term point blank comes from.
Okay.
Is the range at which if you were firing a blank, you could still hurt someone. I think that's where the word comes from.
Okay. And rubber bullets?
Rubber bullets are used by like police forces and stuff for. It's originally they called it non-lethal, but they have to call it less lethal now. If you get hit in the heart with one, it will still kill you.
Okay.
So they have to call it less lethal legally because it can kill people.
Okay. So the casing makes it, because it's rubber, it might not penetrate you. It won't penetrate you, will it?
No.
No. So rubber will not penetrate you.
No, it'll bounce off.
It'll bounce off.
It will kill. It will hurt
Will
really bad.
Yeah.
And like I say, if it hits you in a vital organ, you're donezo.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Same with they have these shotguns that shoot beanbags. They shoot beanbags at you, and if they hit you in a vital organ,
a beanbag.
Yeah, beanbag.
Well, what? At a children's nursery or something, or
like a mini beanbag. Yeah, like a tiny little beanbag.
Never seen them.
No. It's quite. It's you don't really. It's more of an American thing.
Okay.
I think France is starting to use them as well.
Yeah.
But
they love their guns in America. Everything's an American
Everything's
thing.
in America, yeah. Everything's bigger.
Okay, so a beanbag.
Yeah. A little beanbag.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's full of beads.
Yeah.
Or beans.
Full of beads or
so is it a bead bag or a bean bag?
I don't know.
I think it's got to be a bead bag.
Yeah. Well, I wonder why they call them bean bags, because they're not really beans, are they?
Yeah.
They're just little. What are they? Are they metal? Are they plastic? I don't even know what's in a bean bag. Do you know?
No.
Well, beans apparently.
Yeah. Or
it's not. I don't think it's Heinz.
Can they kill someone?
If they hit you in a vital organ. 100%.
So there might be a has-been. Okay. So
I don't think Heinz. I mean, maybe Heinz should branch out into weapons manufacturing.
Okay. And Uzis and what do you know about Uzis or
Uzi is Israeli manufactured. It's a submachine gun.
Okay.
What's called a submachine gun, which just means little machine gun. So you
Okay.
know those big ones you see where you've got to get two hands on and they're all
like
mounted on a
Arnie
tripod.
and Commando?
Yeah. Well, a submachine. Well, you've got several types of them. So you've got a machine gun or a heavy machine gun, as it's called now. You've got a submachine gun, which is slightly smaller. You still need like two hands to hold it, but
Yeah.
you know you can theoretically hold it, although you're not meant to. You're meant to use a bipod still, but it's easier to transport. And then you've got what's called a submachine gun. And submachine guns come about during the First World War, and they are like they're not assault rifles, but they're like small machine guns
Yeah.
that you can hold quite easily. You can run around with them. They're very mobile.
Sure.
Is the point. And there's several different generations of submachine gun.
Yeah.
You have the sort of first generation when they would sort of first come into being during the First World War, where they used like the whole point is it's a machine gun that you can run with. That's the whole point. And that was used by like stormtroopers and raiders and stuff during the trenches.
Yeah.
And then you get the second generation of submachine gun during the Second World War, which is it's more about cost efficiency, and it's being able to lay down a lot of fire without it costing too much to make.
Sure.
So they're cheap, they're easy to use, they're quick. That's the main point.
Yeah.
And then
Kill
you
a
have
lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third generation, which is after the Second World War during the Cold War, is all about being able to conceal it. You know, when you've got like secret agents and stuff, and you don't get. I mean, you get a couple. Like the thing is, because the Cold War is like a lot of people using second generation, like the Sterling submachine gun, which you might know the British used to use. It's got like a magazine on the side. Very iconic.
May have seen it.
Very iconic.
Yeah.
You've probably seen it in like a film or something.
Yeah.
That's a second generation, but it was made during the Cold War. But the third generation ones, like the Uzi, Uzi used by special forces because they can easily conceal it.
Okay.
And that's the whole point of them. And there's one submachine gun. I forget the name of it now, but it's literally designed to look like a briefcase.
You're kidding.
It is purpose built to look like a briefcase. So you can just be walking around the city in a suit. You're carrying this briefcase. No one thinks anything of it. Terror attack happens. Just open it up and open fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
James Bond.
Yeah, literally, it's James Bond weapons.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Uzi is a third generation submachine gun that was developed by Israeli special forces.
Like Mossad or
Yeah.
Okay. What about Kalashnikovs? And why is this iconic?
It's debatable, but Kalashnikov, the AK-47 is debatably the first ever assault rifle.
Why is it called AK-47? Now, WD-40, do you know why that's called WD-40?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you know what WD-40 is?
I know what WD-40
Okay.
is.
Yeah. Water displacement 40. Now, the 40th time the gentleman who invented it, the 40th time he got it right.
Oh, so it's like Model 40.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So AK-47.
1947.
Okay.
The year it came out.
And
the AK
what's his
are the
first name?
initials. Alexei Kalashnikov.
What a guy.
Yeah.
And AK-47.
Yeah.
Why is it gone down in folklore?
Well, like I said, it's debatably the first assault rifle. I would disagree with that, but some people say it does. But the main thing is because it's the second most produced weapon in history.
The first
being the Mosin Nagant, also Russian.
Okay.
Mosin Nagant's a bolt action rifle.
Okay, why do we never hear about that? Oh, I've not.
I do, but
okay, all right.
But I'm in the sphere. Really.
Yeah.
Well, because a Mosin Nagant is not useful in modern warfare because every time you fire, you have to go like that. Whereas with an AK-47, you just hold the trigger down.
Yeah.
So it's just better to use in modern warfare.
Yeah.
Although you still see Mosin Nagants. I've seen some footage in Ukraine of soldiers using these Mosin Nagants, and these Mosin Nagants are 1896. And they're still being used today.
crazy.
But obviously they're not as popular anymore as the AK-47. But they're still the most produced rifle or weapon in history. But the AK-47, yeah, because it was so massively produced, and the Soviets sent them out to all their friends, and so they appeared all over Africa and Asia and all that. And then a lot of the people that they would be sending them to, a lot of these African countries, they're like, you know what, we don't actually want these. We're going to sell them off for money because they're all corrupt.
Yeah.
Corrupt people in Africa, it's like, what? But yeah, the that's why the AK-47 is so.
That was very Alan Partridge. That. Yeah. You shot yourself in the foot there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So okay, now they're guns. What are sort of, shall I say, popular or notoriety?
Yeah.
What sort of ammunition do you like or turns you on?
Well, like what kind of like gun?
Yeah, gun or.
I wouldn't say turns me on.
Yeah.
The idea of killing a fellow man.
Yeah.
Or
it's a bit of
in terms of what I like, in terms of just like respecting it. I really really love a submachine gun called the Suomi. It's Finnish, and it's a great story because it was when the Russians invaded Finland in '39. They got absolutely destroyed.
1939.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, 2039.
Well, you never know.
But yeah, I mean, because you'd think tiny little Finland, there's barely anyone living there.
Yeah.
It's all just farms, and you got big Russia. They got all these factories.
Yeah.
You'd think Russia would sweep them, but no. Little Finland won. Well, debatably won. I mean, they lost territory, but like Russia wanted to take over the whole country, and they couldn't. But they took a little bit. But basically, before then, Stalin and the Russians, they're like, they think that submachine guns are a fad. They're just this stupid little trend. No one really, they don't actually work. Blah blah blah. It's whatever. We don't need them. And then the Finnish have this submachine gun. It's called the Suomi, which is Finnish for Finland.
Okay.
So they named their gun after themselves.
Yeah.
And it was so absolutely devastating that after the war, the Russians, Stalin himself said, I want what they've got. And he ordered a direct copy, an exact copy of the Suomi, which is more well known. It's called the PPSH. And it's way more well known. More people know the PPSH than the Suomi.
Yeah. PPSH. What does that stand for?
Some Russian stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember because I do historical reenactment. I have a Finnish character, and I remember doing a show once, and I was like holding this holding the Suomi.
He's a Finnish character.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was holding the Suomi, and this little kid comes up, and he's totally starstruck. You can tell he loves history, and I'm thinking I'm going to get him out. So I show him it. I'm like, "Do you want to hold it?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you know what this is called?" And he says, "It's the PPSH." And I go, "No, PPSH. That's a cheap knockoff. This is a Suomi."
Okay, you pissed on his chips that day.
No. Well, no, I'm just teaching him, but it's like it's fun,
Yeah.
I wasn't being like horrible to him. I was just like,
telling him the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. So now he knows.
Now he knows, and
Bless
now
him.
you know, and now all of you know.
Yeah, bless him. Okay, that's that. What can you now tell us about? Do you know about bombs and stuff?
A little bit.
Nuclear bombs?
Little bit.
Okay. What would happen in a nuclear war if someone pressed that button?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you the first thing you
Yes.
should do. If you see a nuclear explosion, you stretch your arm out and you put your thumb up, right?
At point blank range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. You put your thumb up, and if the tip of your thumb covers the explosion, you're safe.
Because it's so far.
Yeah, because that's when it's far away enough that you're safe. Is if the tip of your thumb covers the entire explosion, that's when you're safe from the explosion, and that's including the radiation and whatnot.
Yeah.
If it
Thumbs up.
if it doesn't, if your thumb doesn't take over the whole thing, you're in trouble.
Okay.
That's why. Have you heard of Fallout?
From the sky?
No, video game series.
No, I've not.
Okay, well, basically, it's like a very popular game about like post-apocalypse.
Okay.
And their like mascot character is doing like a big thumbs up. He's doing,
Okay.
doing a cheery thumbs up, and the reason why is because of that whole thing of covering the. Because everyone's like, oh, he's being optimistic.
Yeah.
You know, he's being really happy, but no,
I'm through to the next level.
Yeah. He's checking to see if he's safe from the bombs. You know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's so if you ever see if God forbid a nuclear explosion happens, and you see it, first thing you do, go like that, and then after that, even to be honest, even if you are in the safe range, just to be safe, second thing you do.
It depends on the wind and
well, exactly.
You know that will
exactly.
Okay, what happens? What are the consequences? Why is everyone so scared?
Well, it's mass devastation.
Is it
on biblical scales?
Is it?
Yeah, everything's obliterated. If you're really close to it, you won't even have like a body. You'll just be turned into. I mean, have you seen the photos after like Hiroshima?
Sure.
Where the people are reduced to shadows, plastered on the walls, and that and a nuclear bomb used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki are about 0.1% of the strength of the current ones we have. So pretty bad to be right in the radius. And then there's the radiation poisoning afterwards, the fallout. There's something called nuclear winter. If we had a full-on nuclear war where many nuclear bombs were dropped at once, all the ash would cover the Earth's atmosphere for probably about 300 years, and it would start.
What?
Yeah. It would start a new ice age, and that's called nuclear winter because it would block out the sun entirely.
Yeah.
The whole planet would go into darkness.
Yeah.
For about 300 years. Probably longer, actually. That's a nuclear winter.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's depressed me even more.
Yeah. But yeah, the second thing, if you see a nuclear bomb, strip off all your clothes as fast as you can. Because if you have clothes on, when the blast hits, they will melt into your skin. And then you'll probably die.
But you're going to die anyway. Your skin's going to burn.
Well, if you want to... Well, not as bad. I mean, if you want to live as long as possible, strip off all your clothes, and then you want to hunker down. And the two things you want to protect is your face and your hands. Keep your mouth open, because if you keep it closed, your lips could get sealed shut, because that's how hot it gets. And this is just to have a chance at survival. So yeah, let's hope there's no nuclear bombs anytime soon.
That is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That is frightening.
Yeah.
Have any sort of like films? What films have been?
There is a fantastic film. It's called Threads.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No.
It was a BBC production. I want to say the 80s, possibly the 70s.
Yeah.
And it is considered probably the most accurate depiction of what
would happen post
nuclear war. It's set in Sheffield.
All right.
Yeah.
The City of Steel.
Yeah. And it is very disturbing. It's a very disturbing film. It's very good.
Yeah.
But it's very dark.
Yeah.
But it is a good film, and that's something I would
Where did
recommend.
you see that?
Oh, years ago.
Is it on iPlayer?
It probably is.
Okay.
I don't think I saw it on iPlayer.
Yeah.
I think I might have got it through less legal means.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because I used to be a bit of a pirate. Aha.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Okay.
Yo ho ho.
Yeah.
But not that I don't do piracy anymore.
No.
Because I don't think it's ethical anymore.
Yeah.
But I used to quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's probably where I saw it. Or I might have seen it on iPlayer, or it might have just been on the telly. I don't know where I saw it. It was years and years ago.
Okay.
But it's very chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would recommend if you're into that stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't like feeling depressed, then maybe not.
Yeah. Well, looking at another thing I wanted to ask you is about these silencer guns.
Oh, silencers.
Yeah.
Well,
they
suppressors?
Yeah,
they're
suppressors.
supposed to be called, but some people call them silencers.
They're like amazing.
Not really.
No.
So films massively over exaggerate.
Okay.
How effective? Yeah. No, it's much louder than that.
Okay.
Like, have you seen John Wick?
Yes.
is it the third one where they're in the underground and they're like
Right.
shooting at each other with silencers? Have you seen it?
No, not the third
Oh,
one.
okay. Well, there's a bit. They're like walking around. They're like taking pot shots at each other, like with silencers.
Yeah,
No, everyone there would be able to hear it.
yeah.
A silencer or a suppressor or whatever you want to call it. They
You've got a silencer on you at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just visualize in my head. If someone, let's say in this room, I had a gun and it had let's say a normal pistol and a suppressor on it. If I fired it, everyone in this building would be able to hear it.
Sure.
No one outside this building would be able to hear it.
Okay.
Whereas if I fired a gun without one, everyone in the whole town would be able to hear it.
Town.
Yeah, well, depending on the gun. But maybe the block. Everyone in the block, let's say.
Yeah. Or the road.
Yeah. Let's say the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of a bit over exaggerated how big the town is really for a second.
Wow. First of all, the person firing the shot is going to blow his eardrums out.
Yeah. Well, you can.
Yeah.
It depends on the gun. I mean, you can get.
If people can hear it in the whole village or town,
you can get suppressors for shotguns.
Yeah.
And a shotgun, probably the whole town would hear it.
Yeah.
A shotgun. If a shotgun goes off next to your ear, it will deafen you for life.
Crazy.
Because they're loud. But you can get suppressors for shotguns.
Yeah.
But it would. Yeah, a suppressor. Everyone in this whole, it's like I couldn't like shoot you and no one would notice. Everyone in the building would hear. But so they're a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on suppressors, especially like I say in films. They make it out like you just can't hear it.
Yeah,
which is not true.
Okay,
not true at all. I mean, it's like putting a silencer on the exhaust of your car. Yeah, it makes it less noisy, but you can still hear it.
Yeah. It just slightly sort of cushions it.
It's probably a good comparison, really, with a silencer on a car exhaust. That's probably about right.
Good analogy, that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've covered that. What interests you most about what you've learned? Or what interesting facts could you tell us?
That is $1 million question right there. That is $1 million question.
Yeah.
Where to begin?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I guess the main thing is there's a current trend, especially among young people right now, and I like to call it pop history.
Okay.
Where it's people are watching YouTube videos that present themselves as documentaries, and some of them I will give credit. They're pretty good, but they all provide this same sort of narrative. A very common one is the how do you describe it? So a very common one, especially with the Second World War, would be the Rommel myth, I guess. This general, Erwin Rommel, he fought in Africa against us. And there's this sort of myth that this guy was like a genius general, like he was the best general ever. And he was very, very competent, and we were very scared of him. But the problem was he couldn't manage logistics to save his life. His men were always starving, his tanks were always out of petrol. That's why we beat him. And then you've got these pop historians who grow up and they're just watching these videos about, Rommel, he's the best, the Desert Fox, and then I see them go out and they say, Hitler should have put Rommel on the Eastern Front because then they would have beat the Russians. The whole problem with the Eastern Front was the logistics. So putting a guy who's terrible with logistics on the Eastern Front would not have gone very, very well. And that's the thing that I think I've gotten most from uni, because I used to be a pop historian. I used to be like, Rommel's the best, or Letter Vorbeck's the best, or if I was in charge of the German army in 1940, I definitely would have won. Like that kind of stupid sort of
mentality,
not really thinking, and going with the same sort of narrative over and over and over, and stuff like the clean Wehrmacht, the idea that all the war crimes that was only done by the SS, the Wehrmacht were clean, which is it's revisionist nonsense. And I think going to history and actually being in university and learning that history is not objective. The whole point of history is everyone disagrees on it. I have arguments with classmates about certain things within history. We have. So I believe, for example, that Japan surrendered because of the atomic bombings. I got a friend who says no, atomic bombings were nothing to do with it. It was because the Russians invaded Manchuria. And he's got absolutely valid points, and it's a totally valid reasoning, and probably about 50% of the historical community would agree with him. But then 50% also agree with me. And it's all about arguing, and there's no one narrative. Unless you're a Holocaust denier, in which case you can go to hell. But in most respects, there's not one single narrative, and that's something that I have gained a massive appreciation for.
Wow.
So there you go. Rant over.
Yeah, you got that out of your system.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Now, another thing which fascinates me about you as well, you're a bit of a wordsmith, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Go on, tell me a little bit about what you're...
I'm interested in etymology.
Okay, etymology.
Yeah.
I love etymology. I etymol. You know, but what is etymology?
Etymology is like where words come from. Why do
Your
words
mouth?
mean certain? No, I mean in terms of, as
Origin.
Origin.
You mean where's language started from?
Yeah, essentially. And it's very interesting to see, because we have like a few words. I mean, here's something interesting. So we're originally this country, England, Anglo-Saxon, Germanic, right? And we get taken over by the Normans, who are French. And the Normans don't replace the Anglo-Saxons. They just become the new, under new management. So they stay just ruling class. They never mingle with the working class, which is still Anglo-Saxon. And you'll notice a lot of, how do I say this? A lot of simpler words, not fancy words, stuff that the average Joe will use. Very Germanic sounding. Very, very Germanic sounding. Whereas fancy words, like, I don't know, like romance, fluorescent, stuff like that, it's very French sounding. And it's interesting to see the origins, because it's not French, it's developed into its own sort of language. And we're a hybrid language, and you can see the etymology, and a lot of these basic words like pub. That's a German word right there, isn't it? Public house, those are German phrases. Whereas something like I don't know, give me like a really fancy word. Anything, something that sounds highbrow.
Aphrodisiac.
Well, that sounds sort of French Latin, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And that's the thing is because obviously the ponces at the top, they're all using these. They're speaking French. They're using all these fancy words, and whereas the poor have no reason to use certain words like this, so they just don't. And then when English starts to sort of meld together and become its own culture, and when you stop having the separation of Anglo-Saxon and Norman, and they both sort of merge together, that same hierarchy, it's still there. The hierarchy is still there, just in the language. And it's interesting to see the etymology of how these words and phrases have come about, depending on the class of the people using them. And yeah, I mean, we got a lot of words from Vikings as well. Obviously, we've got a few... people overestimate how much Celtic influence we've got. The Celts were basically wiped out. They're not... There's still a few words here and there, but they're not terribly significant.
What, Celts as in what?
Celts are like the Gaels.
Scottish.
Yeah.
Irish influence.
Yeah, Irish, essentially.
Yeah.
The last of the Celts are in Wales, Cornwall, and Ireland.
Yeah. I love Celtic folk music, dude.
It's very good.
Wow.
I'm a big fan. I love Ireland.
It's like hypnotizes you.
Yeah. Can you do what's it called? A river dance, I think it's called.
If I'm in a river, yeah,
joking a chat.
I'll have a boogie. It's not too deep.
A boogie in a river.
Yeah.
Do you do that often?
Well, if there's no crocs about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so etymology, I've never heard that before.
No?
What other thing interests you about words and
Do you know what a palindrome is?
That is it something? Is it obviously it's a word that is spelt backwards the same
Yeah.
as the start.
Yeah. It can be a phrase as well. It doesn't have to be just one word. So, let me think of one.
So a word, for example, like
word or
ABBA,
phrase.
that's a palindrome.
Race car is one.
Race car.
Spell race car backwards.
That's brilliant. But surely you can't do a phrase.
Was it a bat I saw?
I don't know.
Well, that's a palindrome, what I just said.
Was it a bat I saw?
Yeah.
Was it a bat I saw? Saw was... Oh my word. Who thought of that? Did you think of that?
No, I got that from Robot Chicken.
Okay.
Do you know Robot Chicken?
No, I don't. Whatever you're asking me, I don't know.
Robot Chicken's it's a comedy show. It's like they do sketch comedy.
Was it a bat
and
I saw?
They did a sketch where they had a new Batman villain called Palindrome.
Okay.
And his whole gimmick as a Batman villain is he only speaks in palindromes.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the things he says. He like appears before Batman. He goes, "Was it a bat I saw?"
Okay.
And Batman just like claps.
Yeah, and that's appropriate for the Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's
not a cricketer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw that sketch for the first time, I was thinking someone must have burst a blood vessel trying to come up with all these
amazing.
palindromes.
Yeah.
But yeah, a palindrome, it doesn't have to be a word. It can be a phrase as well. As long as it's a phrase or word that if you spell it backwards, it's the same.
Just look at, as you said, the amount of like burst blood vessels gone into like thinking about, a phrase or a sentence.
I just think it's a shame that the word palindrome is not a palindrome.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the worst part.
Is that French?
Probably. I mean, yeah, it sounds French, right?
Yeah.
And that's a more fancy word. You're not going to get the average Joe saying, "Oh, yeah, you hear this palindrome I came up with." You're not going to get that. And that's the thing, and it's going back to the whole etymology. I'd say that it's either Latin or French. If it's Latin, it would have come from the French.
Longest word in the English language?
It is anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism. Anti-disestablishment. Arianism.
Yeah. I'm so upset that I know that.
And what does that mean?
Oh, God. It's a very, very specific word. It means... it comes from the Reformation. And I think it's... So, you got the Catholic Church. They're in charge of everything in Europe. And then you have the Protestant Reformation, which says, no, we don't like organised religion. We want to be our own thing. And then... you get Henry VIII, and he does the Anglican Revolution, right? So the Anglicanism is basically, it's Catholicism without the Pope. A lot of Anglicans call themselves Anglo-Catholics. So anti-disestablishmentarianism...
Anglo you look at it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So anti-disestablishmentarianism, it's against the Pope in terms of we don't like Catholics, but it's also against the Lutheran Protestants in that we still want organised religion. So it's a very, 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 very specific word, and it has no real use in modern day language. It's an old word, but it's the oldest. The longest word in the dictionary. Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
So what about that word in Mary Poppins?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is not in the dictionary.
Okay.
It's a made-up word.
It's made up.
Yeah, totally fictional.
The amount of kids what probably grown up thinking that's
the longest word.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Where
it's not a
is
real
it?
word. It
Okay.
doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. It's made up. It's fictional.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's upset
So you heard
me.
it here first, kids.
Yeah.
Instead of singing supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, you should be singing anti-disestablishmentarianism. There you go.
You're popping now, mate.
Yeah.
Well done.
We're popping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just caught.
Yeah. Now, I think you need to have a gun named after you.
Yeah, I'd
So-
like that.
Them powerful water blasters, soakers. Call it a Merf gun.
Merf gun.
Yeah.
I think there's something quite similar to that already.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that would be
Yeah.
that's got your signature on it. That one.
Yeah. It's Merf or nothing.
Yeah. Now what we want to try and do is create a podcast or just talk to one another. We're going to have guests on as well.
We are. I look forward to that.
So
Definitely.
we'll have guests, and basically try and make it interesting. Learn. That's
that's the main
knowledge
thing,
is power.
Yeah, exactly. Have some laughs.
And that's it. And
that's
just,
what we're all about at the Merf and Irf show.
Yeah, Irf and Merf show. But it's it's always great listening to you.
Thank you.
And learning from you.
Yeah, always.
Now, what else do you want to talk about?
I was in a film recently.
Okay, you was in a film.
Yeah, student film.
Yeah.
I was helping out a friend of mine. She's doing one for an assignment. She's a film student. I was an evil chef, and if someone critiqued,
What was your name? Gordon Ramsay.
It was Gordon, actually. It was Gordon. Didn't have a surname, but it was Gordon. And the whole basically the gist of it is I'm running this restaurant, and if someone critiques the food, they saying, "Oh, this food's terrible," I follow them back home, and I kill them, and I cut them up into pieces of meat, and then I use them and I serve them to the other customers.
Wow.
Evil chef.
So
serial killer chef.
Yeah, so it's a comedy.
There are comedic elements in it.
Yeah.
There's a bit where I beat the crap out of a guy.
Yeah.
I do some funny noises sometimes, I like to accentuate, I like to be
Have you got
larger
acting
than life.
experience?
I used to want to be an actor.
Did you?
Very, very long time ago. But my drama teacher taught us the written exam wrong, so we all failed drama, so I didn't get to pursue that career in the end, but which is fine.
What, give you the wrong syllabus?
He just taught us it wrong. It was insane, actually, because I distinctly remember on the results day, because we're the first year to start using numbers instead of letter grades, using numbers.
Okay.
And it's I mean, do you know the number grading system? It's a 4 is a pass. And then you got 5, 6, 7, whatever, and an 8 is an A star, 9 is an A star. It's the one above A star. But basically,
you're full of 9s, I assume.
I got a 9 in English language.
Okay.
Would you believe?
I do believe it.
But yeah, we all got 3s in drama, even though we all thought we did really, really well. And we're on the results day, and I think he knew that he messed up. I think he knew.
Couldn't you have appealed?
This is the thing. I think he knew he messed up, because we're all going over to him because he's there on the day, and we're saying, "Oh, we got 3 in drama. That's not very good. I thought we did really well. What do you know what happened?" He said to my face, and with my friends and everything, he said, "Oh no, drama's marked differently. A 3 is really good."
But surely that is a fail.
It is a fail. But
Yeah.
he said it's marked differently, and that 2 is a pass, 3 is really good, and then 1 is just fail. That's what he said. And then I'm thinking, oh, okay, whatever. I get home, and I'm thinking, it's a bit weird. Would have thought they'd told us that before the exams. So I look it up, and no, he just straight up lied to us. And I think it's because he knew.
Put an act on.
He knew, yeah, well, that's probably why he's a drama teacher.
But at your expense.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, and the other students.
Yeah, he literally, and we looked into it, and yeah, he taught us the written exam wrong, realised he messed up, and then lied to us on the results day. If it weren't for that, I don't know, you'd probably see me in Hollywood right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to think I'm a good actor.
Waiting tables.
I'm good. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm good at playing. I'm not very good at serious characters. I'm not good at doing drama, but I can do I can be larger than life. I can be eccentric. I can be wild.
Yeah.
Wild stuff. That's my thing, and I like that, and that's why
basically an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I liked being the serial killer in this thing. Main character, by the way, I was main character.
Yeah.
Because I could be like psychotic, and I could be
Yeah.
like, I did like crazy eyes.
Yeah.
You know,
So that is quite a good story, good plot. You know, so follows them home.
Yeah.
And then kills them, cooks them.
Kill them.
And
then I serve them to other customers.
And are you allowed to tell us what the outcome was, or?
Oh, it basically it just ends with me like saying like I'm like cooking up meat, and it's like implied to be this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this time I'll get it right.
Yeah.
And that's what it ends on. It's like, oh, this time.
Is it a short film?
Yeah, it's like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Student film, innit?
Yeah.
And then next year she wants me back as well to do to be a cult leader.
A cult leader.
Yeah. Which I think I'll be very good at.
Yeah.
I could run a cult, I reckon. I could lead a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Koresh.
Yeah. not and,
was he Waco?
Yes.
Wacko.
Yes, that was Waco.
Yeah.
That was Waco, was Koresh. Yeah. No, I'm thinking more of a Jim Jones.
Okay. Yeah.
Or a L. Ron Hubbard.
Okay. Why would you be good in running a cult?
Because I'm charismatic and I got personality.
Okay.
And I can do all the like hand movements.
Yeah.
God is speaking to me.
Yeah. Okay. Still on LSD, are we?
But I could, But the thing is, because I need to check it, because it's ages away before we even do this film, so I haven't talked to her about it. Yeah. But because to me, there's two types of cult leader, right? You got the one I'd prefer to do, the charismatic type, where it's all in like a, let's say like an all white suit, white fedora on, and I'm like speaking to the heavens, I'm like that. And then you've got the evil cult leader who's in like a robe, and you've got like a big hood on. It's obscuring your face, and you're like, kill Viceroy Gunray, and all that, like the Emperor from Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd prefer to do the bombastic, loud, but I could also totally do Emperor from Star Wars. So
you'd be like a pimp cult leader.
I think I could rock that
with a leopard fur walking stick and the white suit.
Yeah. I think I could rock that.
Yeah, you would.
But again, I need to check with her because I don't know what kind of cult leader she's going for.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be the bombastic type, and like a what's the name? The guy who runs Scientology.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Does Tom Cruise run it?
No.
Okay.
I was just saying a name that's related to Scientology.
Yeah. He's one of what is Scientology? Is it obviously it's science?
Have you seen the film Prometheus in the Alien series?
No.
Okay. Well, basically,
whatever you've asked me, it's been a no.
Yeah. Well, basically, the intro to that film is what Scientologists believe. Scientologists believe that we are all descended from an alien called Xenu. Yeah. Xenu.
Okay.
And they believe he came to Earth and he like did something to his body or whatever, sacrificed himself, and then his cells became humans. L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology, was a science fiction writer, a failed science fiction writer.
Okay, I've heard of that name.
Probably,
but no, but in screenplays or
he did some screenplays. Yeah.
Okay.
He was basically he was a writer in Hollywood in like the 50s or 60s.
Okay.
And he sort of like he was like a failed writer.
Okay.
And he sort of went a bit nutty, and he decided, you know what, I don't need to be writing films and books and whatever. I'm just going to create my own religion. And he did that, and people just got sucked into it.
Yeah.
And then you get Scientology.
Wow. And it's got some high profile followers.
I think a lot of them get into it because it's like it was a status thing.
Okay.
Because this guy L. Ron Hubbard, when he starts it, even though he's a failed writer, so and so, he's still got connections in Hollywood, and he sort of brings people in. And he originally starts it as like this elite social club, so everyone wants to join it. And then because you've got these high profile people joining it, everyone's like, oh, I want to be in this too. So they get hooked into it. And because you need to spend lots of money. If you're a Scientologist, you have to spend a lot of money to get to like different ranks and stuff and different levels.
So he's a clever businessman, isn't he?
Well, yeah. He died very, very rich.
Yeah.
Because he sort of had this, it's even though it's a religion, he had it as like this elite social club in Hollywood. And because everyone wants to get in, you get really high profile getting in. And then what they use is they're using like blackmail and stuff. People can't get out.
Mm.
And that's
It's
what,
like Freemasons or...
It's not like Freemasons is different.
Is it?
Freemasons isn't a religion.
Okay.
The Freemasons, I have a few Freemason friends actually.
Yeah.
It's very different from Scientology.
Hmm. But you never go out with them because whenever you ask them, they're never free.
Yeah, and they're all called Mason.
Yeah. Well, listen, Merf, it's great talking to you, man.
Always.
You certainly make time fly. You're an interesting character. I've got a lot of time for you.
Thank you.
And, can't wait to do some more episodes with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Same goes both ways. And you've all been watching the Merf and Irf show.
Yeah, the Irf and Merf show.
Yeah.
But
inaugural episode, pilot episode. I hope you all had a good time listening to us waffling on about nonsense.
Speak to you soon, guys. Thanks for watching. And this isn't a thumbs up. This is to check whether we're in a nuclear free zone.